My mic is muted. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. Gladiator Guru is coming. She didn't have any issues. Well, she had an issue today, but I'll let her explain that to you. But good morning, everyone, and welcome. I am the Badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, coming to you from, once again, a very gloomy Southern Connecticut. This is getting ridiculous. It seems like every Tuesday, Thursday, it's gloomy. It's raining. And again, the rain brings, what is it? April showers bring me flowers. So yeah, we better see some big ass and lots of flowers. That's all I'm saying. We actually did have some pretty nice weather over here the last couple of days. It was really pretty yesterday. Definitely got outside. It was like high 50s. I've been doing my walks and so on and so forth. So anyway, who am I? I am the Badass Buddha. I am 50% namaste and 50% go fuck yourself. That's what that means. My fabulous co-host will be on shortly, and she'll be able to give her fabulous introduction. But what else do I do besides Viva Cafe con Leche? I am a coach and speaker and a mindfulness teacher. My specialty these days now, actually not these days, it's not like a temporary thing. This is my new thing. I specialize in narcissistic and toxic relationships, narcissistic abuse syndrome, CPTSD, PTSD, depression, and anxiety. Because of my lifelong, what I'm thinking here, my life's education. That's the word I was trying to pull out. And I just happen to fall into this. And so I teach a lot of workshops. They're free. I have a workshop pretty much once a week, usually Thursday nights. And you can go on Eventbrite and find that. In addition, I am on Clubhouse. So if you do Clubhouse, and for those of you that are Clubhouse listening to Viva Cafe con Leche, thank you for listening. We don't have a big following just as of yet, but we will. It is pre-recorded because we haven't figured out how to do the live yet, but anyway, I am on Clubhouse. We have the Viva Cafe con Leche club on Clubhouse. And then I also have, Narcissist 101 Club, where we do 3 rooms a week talking all things narcissistic. And then I also do a room in Hustle House on narcissist as well. And it's about learning and educating people and giving them an awareness and helping them get through the trauma, because there's a lot of trauma around living with these individuals. And so that's what I do. And I actually really, really love what I do now. It just sort of moved into this place. And it's incredible, the people that I have met, the stories that I'm hearing, what people are sharing. I feel very honored to be a part of that and to feel like I'm making a difference in people's lives. So good morning, Kathy. Good morning. How's Texas this morning? Tiffany Bryan's in the house. Good morning. Editha, good morning. So for those of you that are tuning in late, Gladiator Guru's coming. She will be on shortly. She had an issue this morning, but it wasn't a tech issue. So, and what else? Remember, we appreciate it if you share, let everybody know we're on, get the ball rolling here, get going. We want to increase our reach. You know how that works. And especially today's conversation, I actually cannot wait for Gladiator Guru to get on, because today's conversation is absolutely fantastic. And it's a 2-part conversation. We have part 1 today and then part 2 with our guest, Christy Sullivan, who's absolutely lovely spirit. And today's conversation is, let's see if I can remember off the top of my head. It's rest. No, let me see. It's rest, review, recover, reset. Rest, review, recover, reset. And we're going to take you into elements that have never been discussed before. Because as we were prepping for this call yesterday, there were questions that we were asking each other and ideas that we came up with. And hopefully Gladiator Guru brings her paper, because I did not write anything down. She was doing all the writing and I was doing something else while we were brainstorming. And we're going to go in a really, really cool direction with this. So it's going to be an absolutely fantastic conversation. Good morning, Attica Bolahala in the house. Good morning. And so it's nice in Texas, bit of rain. Yes, bit of rain here too in Connecticut, but not heavy, real light stuff. And the temperature so far is not all that warm, about 49 degrees. So hopefully it'll warm up. But anyway, all right. So let's do this before Gladiator Guru gets on. Let's set our intention. Let's do our mantra. But the mantra is very important. And remember, you have to say this mantra out loud. And if you can't do it or you don't want to disrupt anybody, then you can say it to yourself. But close your eyes, feel it, repeat it after me, and memorize this mantra. Memorize it because it is a powerful mantra. It is something that you can strive for every single day and remind yourself of who the F you are and how fantastic and fabulous you are. So here we go. We're going to set our intention for today. So today's intention, as always, today's intention is to be intentional. It's to be intentional and to be grateful. I'm pretty grateful every single day. I usually just think about it or say it sometimes throughout my day or whatever. Every so often I don't, I won't do it every single day. But I actually decided to take on the 75 hard challenge. And one of the things for the 75 days is that you have to write what you're grateful for. And so it's been good because now I've been doing it every day and it's been fantastic because writing it is so different than saying it. I mean, listen, don't underestimate the power of saying it. Believe me. And you can do it anywhere, anytime. You don't need the pencil or the pen and the paper. So saying it is very, very fabulous and very powerful. But writing it really puts things into perspective, especially when you're seeing it progress each day, which the 75 hard means that you're doing this for 75 days. You're committing for 75 days. So I am currently on day 9. I think I'm on day 9. And if you ever want to hear more about it, I'd be more than happy to share it with you. But so I am grateful, and I'm grateful for my tribe here. I'm grateful for the tribes that I'm a part of because we all get to connect and share, and it really has made my life so much better. So thank you for all of you for being here and supporting us and being part of the conversation, because without you also being a part of this conversation and bringing in your insight and your questions, we wouldn't be as effective. Let's put it that way. Like, this is a platform. It's not just about to hear us speak. Although I think you figured out that Gladiator Guru and I love to hear ourselves speak. But we do love seeing that commentary because we go off of that commentary. So thank you for that. We really appreciate it. All right. You ready for the mantra? Here we go. All right. You're going to say it loud, say it proud as you can. And we'll get ready. Take a breath in. Let all that in. Let it out. Ground yourself and get ready, because the world, the universe, source, God is about to hear your declaration for today. And here we go. I am a disruptor. I am unapologetically courageous. I am spiritually grounded. I am magically orgasmic. And I am beyond authentic. Woohoo! Give yourselves a clap. Give yourself a pat on the back, because that is important. And, if you want to mix it up a little bit, do it during the day. Look in the mirror. Teach somebody. If you have children, if you have grandchildren or nieces or nephews, have them say it. Okay. This is a mantra for everybody. This isn't just a woman mantra. This is a mantra for everybody. Teach them to say it. It's so exciting when you see individuals teaching, the younger people this, and then saying it together. So definitely teach them to say it. And one other thing I want to throw out to you, I was on a business call and we were talking about marketing, easy ways to market ourselves, cheaper ways to market ourselves and things like that. And for those of you that are in Connecticut, you know of a store called Stu Leonard's. Stu Leonard's has, I believe they have 3 locations, but their main location is in Norwalk, Connecticut, and they are known as the Disneyland of dairy stores. Okay, and if you've ever been to there, you understand why they're called that. But if you've never been there, it's because when you go through Stu Leonard's, first off, their marketing, you know how like when you go to Disney and you get on a ride, like the real popular rides, and then when you get off, they make you walk through. You can't just exit. They make you walk through the store. Very smart, because then everybody wants to buy stuff, right? And the first time I've ever done that, like noticeably at Disney, I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. However, that's what Stu Leonard's does too. Stu Leonard's makes you meander, and while you can cut through, it's like IKEA, the same thing. They kind of make you meander. They have little arrows pointing you into a direction, and then they make you meander through the store so you could see everything, because even though you said, no, I only want 5 items, you might see something that you want or need, But the reason they call it the Disneyland of dairy stores is because they have these mechanical things, and they have all these like cutesy little things for kids. You could push a button, and they have these animated things singing, and and it's just like a big party in there. But that's not why I'm talking about this. So one of the things Stu Leonard's does, and they've done for years, that they would have their plastic Stu Leonard bag, right? And that says Stu Leonard's on there. And I'm sure now I haven't been there in years. They probably switched to the reusable bags, right? But these were like just regular, good, sturdy plastic bags, right? And they had a contest where I don't think it was a contest. I don't think you won anything. Or maybe you did. I can't remember. But they would encourage people to take their Stu Leonard's bag wherever they traveled to. And no matter where they went, they would take a picture of themselves holding the Stu Leonard bag with the background of where they were. And people were really jumping on this. They were, and then they would hang the pictures in the main area where the checkout is, right? All along the wall. Like all you see are these pictures. And people were going to like Italy and taking pictures. They were by the Eiffel Tower. They were on the Great Wall of China. I mean, they really, really traveled with this bag. And I thought to myself, that is so brilliant, because if you bring the bag with somebody's name on there, okay, like the business, it might strike up a conversation. It might not, but there might be curious people, right? And especially if you're making, the bag known, right? So we have bags. Viva Cafe con Leche has bags. So we have bags, and we have t-shirts. And Gladiator Guru and I were talking about this, and we're thinking about putting together this little contest to see what people can do and put their shirts on and get their bags. And when they travel somewhere, take a picture of themselves with the bag or with the shirt and send it to us. And we will, of course, post it. And then we'll see, like, I don't want to have a contest for like who went the farthest and all that, because that's not fair. Some people don't like to travel that far, but it's just an idea, and we'll see if we can do like some sort of raffle. And for those that enter, maybe we'll do it that way. We'll sort of do a raffle. For those that enter, we'll put your name in a raffle and you can win some nice prizes. So good morning, Milagros. We're happy that you're here. And again, for those that came on late, Gladiator Guru is coming. She's coming. But I think what we're going to have to do, though, is because even though she's late, we're going to have to end, not too far after the 9 o'clock mark. So we will have to cut our conversation short. However, our conversation will be great because we will continue it with our guest on Thursday. So let's start talking about this. Okay. The conversation for today is rest, review, recover, reset. Think about those words for a minute. Rest, review, recover, reset. So the reason we decided to have this at this point, like in April, okay, Gladiator Guru loves to do things quarterly. Like she sets her, her goals and whatever quarterly. So she checks in with herself every 3 months. So the end of March was the end of the first quarter. So we are now in the second quarter, right? The beginning of the second quarter. But here's the thing, that whether you do once a year, whether you do weekly, monthly, quarterly, the bottom line is this, that if you're telling yourself that I'm setting goals and I have to check in with myself, you have to stop and honor that space and that time for yourself. So you have to rest, take that pause, review what's been going on in your life, recover for the necessary pieces, and then reset yourself. And that's going to be the thick of this conversation today. So before she gets on, because the really juicy part that we want to talk about, that we were really excited to talk about, is the recover piece, the recover and reset piece. So I'm going to get the ball rolling with the review piece. With the rest and then the review piece, and hopefully she'll be on in the midst of the review piece. The rest piece is pretty easy. It's easy, but it's not always easy for us. Okay. Rest is rest. It could be sleep. It could be taking pause. It could be meditating. It could be just getting outside, going on vacation, pulling yourself away from your daily life, your daily activities. Just taking a moment for yourself, taking a bath, getting a massage. But it's just that place where you can come within yourself. That's what the rest is. And it doesn't have to be limited to one thing. Kathy, thank you so much. Kathy put it in there. Thank you so much. It doesn't have to be limited to one thing. So in other words, like I set myself up for a 90-minute massage once a month. I just started doing that in the beginning of the year. I'm so thrilled that I'm honoring myself with this. That's a rest. However, though, because of my busy schedule, because I have so many things that I'm doing, plus I have the kids, and I take care of my, I'm a part-time caregiver for my dad, I have to rest and take a moment for myself every single day. I have to honor that piece. It could be 1 minute, it could be 5 minutes, whatever it is. Now, because I'm doing the 75 hard, I'm doing exercising regularly. Before I was kind of like sporadic about it, but now I am committed for the 75 days to exercise twice a day for 45 minutes, at least 45 minutes. So that is a part of, even though I'm not resting, it's still resting from my sometimes mundane everyday, business, this, that, like everything that I'm doing. So, but I do take a moment. I do my gratitude list. Part of the 75 hard also, you have to be still for 15 minutes. Okay. So being still for 15 minutes has also reminded me that I have to honor myself with this, because again, I was slacking, I wasn't doing it every day. And if you don't check in, if you don't allow that rest, if you don't allow yourself to close off and slow down a little bit, it takes its toll on you. Now, resting and sleep, that's one type of rest. We all need sleep. We all need a good sleep. And that is necessary just to allow our bodies, our physical body, to reset. But don't use that piece as your rest piece only. The reason we need to be still sometimes, we need to just stop and smell the roses. Sometimes we need to put our bare feet into the ground, or just sit outside, or just admire something. The reason we need to do that is so that we can reclaim ourselves. Hey, there she
and
is.
then like that, the world was a better place. Good morning, mi gente. Buenos dias.
So I just started the conversation on rest. So I was just defining rest, because I figured that would be easy to talk about. And then we'll get into the guts, because you and I are most excited about talking about the recover and the reset piece. So I was just talking about the different ways that we can rest, and the fact that we have to honor ourselves on a daily basis to give us ourselves that moment to just connect with ourselves. Okay. And good morning, Lydia Villanueva. Look at this. She says she's in Connecticut, enjoying the chilly weather and wonderful friends and family. Wonderful. And thank goodness it's not that chilly. Good morning, Shiana Barros. Good morning.
Hey,
and Maria Infante. Good morning.
Good morning, sis.
Fabulous faces on here today.
Yes,
so
good morning. I'm sorry I was late, but my intention is gratitude. I'm sure you did the mantra.
We did. Yep. We set the intention. We did the mantra. So we get going.
The world keeps turning. That's how it is.
So how do you rest, Gladiator Guru? What are some of the things that you do?
Sometimes I have my coffee early in the morning in my sanctuary. I rest. I listen to the birds. I close my eyes. I feel the breeze. I don't just rest by sitting down. Sometimes I'll just stop if I'm out and there's a breeze or it's next to some flowers, and then you can smell them. The birds singing, that was very restful. That was me at 3 in the morning. There was a bird in my yard just chirping. I said, I hope it's not danger signs, but it was so beautiful. So in between sleeping, I rest by finding things that put me at ease, which would be when the wind blows and the branches dancing. Here in Florida, we still have leaves on, so the leaves dancing on the branches as the wind is going. Or I have a certain pair of earrings that's a sign of the gratitude that when the wind goes through, it's like a wind chime in my ear. It's amazing.
That's cool.
I mean, you gotta seek things that make you feel comfortable, because that sometimes you are your rest. So what are you doing for you to rest? And it is finding those little things that really are little enough that we overlook, but that are very comforting.
Yes, very calming to our soul. Even reading, just reading for a moment. That's another piece of the 75 hard, is that I have to read 10 pages of nonfiction every day. But I love that you said the coffee piece, because this is Viva Cafe con Leche. And it is that sometimes, and like, I remember we talked about when we love having our coffee, especially my favorite is when I'm away on vacation and everybody's sleeping, and I just sit out on the deck or the balcony or whatever, and just have my cup of coffee, nice and quiet, nobody's bothering me. And that is the rest piece. That is the part that allows us to connect with ourselves.
It allows us to connect to our five senses that we like run from instead of dance with. So when that's what you're feeling when you're on vacation, you're so in tuned with your five senses, so it balances your chakras. So it balances your seven chakras, but so the five senses play a big role in this. And it is when you're on vacation somewhere tropical, and where you were, what happens with that? It's like, does anybody here, do you remember when you first move in to a new house or a new apartment, and you were the first one up in the morning, because you're going to be the only one emptying boxes, but you're the first one up, and you're walking down just from room to room, and it just feels like it's like the apartment is so happy that you're the one that's going to live there, and then you feel like the same way. So it's like a gravitating energy. Have you ever been? I guess that's you describing when you were in Costa Rica and you woke up early in the morning, right?
Anytime. I love when I'm somewhere and I'm the first one up. Even in my own house, I just love that. I love that quiet time. So yeah, and anywhere. It doesn't matter. I could be in like a disgusting motel. Well, I wouldn't want to be in a disgusting motel, but I could be. And I would just be like, loving that quiet time by myself.
Who would know Motel 6 and Motel 8?
We'll leave the light on.
Then Gen X would definitely know about that. But yeah, so thank you, Laura, for holding the fort. So you read them all, and now we're back on rest.
Well, I said them, and Kathy Ruiz was nice enough to actually write them, so we popped it up onto the screen.
Thank you.
And yeah, so we finished rest, and now we're into review, and then we'll get into the really cool conversation with the and we didn't plan this, but look at we're both.
Look, yeah.
Okay.
A little pretty shirt. I love this shirt. It's just
so review.
Yes.
So we've rested. We've given ourselves space, time, honoring our soul, our spirit, and that necessary peace. Now it's time to review. So what are we reviewing? We're reviewing whatever it is that needs to be reviewed, right? So if you are in business and you are an entrepreneur, then you will take time to review how are things going? How are things going in my business? If it's your personal life, really both. I mean, it's if you are an entrepreneur, you need to review both. You don't just review your business. You have to check in with your personal life because you are the business, especially if you're the only person in the business, you are it. So, but if you work for somebody else or whatever, it's personal. I have to review, how are things going? What am I reaching what I had, wanted to reach for? Am I feeling the way that I wanted to feel? Am I happy? Do I feel complete? Do I feel at peace? Do I, whatever I thought I said I wanted to do in the beginning of the year, am I doing it? Am I leading towards it, at least if I haven't done it yet?
Well, those are
Right?
also questions to ask. I wrote taking stock, acknowledging, accepting, feeling, thinking, analyzing, reflecting.
Yes,
We had a hard time with that word yesterday. We
I
better
did.
reflecting. We did. We couldn't get it. Reflect. You got to.
We couldn't remember the word as well. We're like, it starts with an R, and
Yeah,
we're like, what's the? Or no, we didn't say what starts with R. Like, what's the word? What's the word?
yeah. We knew what it started with, but we just were like Dumb and Dumber, trying to figure it out. So it's reflecting and on your reviewed notes. What did you learn? Like, the question should be, what did I learn from my loss and my gains? What did I learn? So what did we learn during the review? That's also a great thing. You should have like aside from what you were doing, put that aside, a piece of paper you can tuck in your pocket. What did you learn? Your review isn't all about analyzing and reflecting, but it's you're learning. You're learning. ¿Qué no hice o qué hice? When we sit back and we review and we look at our kid and we're like, how the hell did I end up with such a dimwit? Or look at such an academic, Einstein. You got to review. Did you? I think I wrote this in my book with my kids. Did I love them? Did I love them too much, or did I love them just enough? Like, there's a difference. So sit there and review everything, because what you did is the outcome you're seeing. So I like reflecting. I gotta reflect on myself as to why I'm not sleeping and then hitting snooze. You ask me what I do for a rest. I'm like, girl, she is just pointing fingers at me right now.
Me?
Yeah, it was a joke.
No.
So use
what do. I mean, it's shit happens. What are you gonna do? It's all right.
No, it's just like so. The review is also very important. I think the way that we organize these wordings, they are in order. Like rest, of course, like that's super important. But then as we went on, and yesterday when we were working on it, I'm like, they all play such vital roles in our life.
Right.
And it's like you need to really look at them, because when you're resting and then you get up and you start reviewing everything you've done, that's your training manual to go forward. So you have to be specific and you have to be honest.
Well, and here's the deal. I don't think we can be very, what's the word I'm looking for now? I can't think of the word again. I don't think we can be as precise. That's not the word, but it'll come to me. If we don't stop and rest and then review, when we force ourselves to review, I think that's part of the problem. I think that when we force it, we're not really seeing everything or feeling everything. When you said when you rest, you're feeling all five senses. And giving yourself that space allows you to be more thorough in your review. I'm getting closer. Those are the words I'm looking for. You're more thorough, more accurate. You're covering all the bases. And the other key piece with that review is you have got to be honest with yourselves. You can't say, well, I didn't come close to this, but this is why. Like, okay, there are reasons. There totally are reasons, and that's part of the review. But if the reasons are all outer, like, okay, maybe the reason I didn't do this yet is because I'm missing the mark, or I didn't put enough time into this, or I got distracted because of this. You can get distracted, but you have to own the piece that you got distracted. Somebody else might have distracted you, but you got distracted and you let your boundary down. And so, or your review could be fabulous. Like we're talking about the negative stuff, but your review looking at it, say, dang, I'm like, great. Look at this. I hit this mark. I hit this mark. And the review is important so that you can also honor the fact that you did it, that you got to where you wanted to get to. And now you achieved it. So what's next? So the rest, to give yourself that space to clear your mind, to be able to focus on it, the review, so that you can really ask yourself the right questions, taking that pause to ask yourself the right questions that you need to ask for yourself about you, not about somebody else, about you.
It's all about, that's the hardest person. But instead of, do me a solid, everything she said is correct. I want to add something in, something that how I live my life. When you're questioning what I did wrong or how exceptionally well you did, remember that you could have had 50 plans and prepared for them, and it still didn't come through. Start removing the whys and start understanding that everything is done on timing. There's a word I love. There's a word we speak of all the time. It is maktub. Maktub means it is written. So sometimes we go against the laws of attraction by thinking we have set our mindset to such perfection that we know everything, and then we fail. So instead of saying why, say what can I do different next time? And maybe is set my intention, set my goal, write it down, ink it, because I do want to achieve it, but then wait for the perfect timing to launch it. Sometimes we are that pre-ejaculated semen that's like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. We do that a lot in our own lives, thinking that we have total power of what we're doing. I don't care what you believe in, but if you have missed your timing on several projects, then it's time you really sit and rest and reevaluate how you do things. And because the more whys you ask, the more back you put. Ask what or how. What did I fail to see, and how can I do it differently? Carry on.
And and I mean, that's where I fell short. Part of the reason I really was just having an awful time last year was because I also didn't, here's another little challenge. I didn't want to stop. I was resting, but not reviewing. Okay. And even resting, it was really not great. I didn't want to review because I knew what I was going to see. And that's another piece, that you have to be brave enough to do the review and, say to yourself, okay, this isn't working. And so, like Gladiator Guru says, what am I going to do about it? Rather than fall into that hole and just the shit just keeps like piling on you before you know it, you can't even get out anymore, or you just dug the hole deeper, and we don't have to have poop in there, but it's just hard to get out. And it's going to take extra effort to get out. So before you get there, that's also too, when you're reviewing, it's not just about reviewing your life and what's going on and how you're doing and if you're going forward and all this stuff, but also review who's in your life. Lydia wrote, I posted up there, but I'll say it again. I say, remove yourself from the place or people who need your advice or consejos. Always make like to really rest the mind and physical state. It is good to remove yourself from the people who are always, who need your advice, because they're kind of like zapping you all the time.
Energy out of your big toe.
But you also want to honor the people who are in your life that are there for you. And so part of the review is also review your tribe, review the people that support you, review your cheerleaders, review the ones that love you no matter what and are there for you. And that if you feel like you're getting stuck or you're kind of slowing down a little bit or not hitting your mark, say, okay, what can I do then to change this, that's what Gladiator Guru was saying. Well, maybe I could reach out to some of these people that, that are my friends or my family members that and get their advice, talk to them, run some stuff by them. And maybe, or just not advice, but maybe just troubleshoot with them. Say, listen, I'm really stuck on this. I don't know how to go forward. Maybe they'll give you some information. Maybe they have nothing. Maybe they're just there to have a conversation with. But also review on your tribe. If there are tribe members that offered nothing to you, like nothing, they're not even, anytime you've reached out to them, they're not there for you. They're always asking you, just like Lydia's saying, then maybe that's the other piece, is maybe that's part of the problem too, is maybe I am giving myself too much to other people and I have to take that step backwards. But that's all part of the review process.
It is. And you got to be honest. You got to be honest, because sometimes you're the main problem.
Yes.
Sometimes you are insecure. You are easily intimidated. So
Yes.
you allow these people to do that.
Correct.
I'm not insulting anybody. I'm calling it out as real as I can be.
Yes.
Because sometimes you're so quick to say, fulana de tal me chupa la alegría, this is happening, and what? Who is allowing it? Why is so-and-so always needing and getting from you, and then so-and-so doesn't? It's not that they're totally different people. It's because maybe you're different people with each of them. So review, rest, and then review. You have to analyze your life, your spirit. And then that's how you can lead a better life, if that's what you're looking for. If you want to more successful life, and then I'm gonna have a show on who deems what success, because that word is thrown around. It's very easy. And then you have to. I always bring it back to me. Like, I set 3 alarms on different devices today because I knew I went to bed at almost 4 a.m. So I'm responsible. But the good thing is I have someone like the badass who's not only going to text me, thank God, but calls me. And that's what really, I'm like, what? Because I admit, yeah, I knew I was tired. I'm the one. And then I have someone like that. So you review who you're going to have in your life. And remember, for every beginning, there's an end. So who started with you may not end with you.
Yes.
And
that's okay.
Yes. And for every end, there's a beginning. And sometimes, if you haven't write this down, Laura. Reason, Season, Lifetime. It's a known author. It's a poem. Reason, Season, Lifetime. For those who've read it, reread it. For those who haven't, look it up on Google. It is an excellent poem. I used to teach that in my classes for people to understand reason, season, lifetime. When those people are in your life for those things, you can understand what it is they bring, and then when they and why they have to leave. Just like we have left other people's lives. So you must understand that. And then when you're doing the review, sometimes when things don't work out, did you say a prayer? Father God, please help me with something. And all of a sudden, like, you broke up with somebody, your best friend decides to move cross country without telling you, so now you're wounded. Pay attention and keep your energy, and let's keep it moving. Carry on.
So rest, review. Okay. If you have to write down stuff, do so. If you're more, in your head, and that's okay. Now we go to recover and reset.
Nothing stays in our head.
And I know, right? And we may not, and so we might not have time to have a conversation on the reset piece. So because this is part 1 and part 2, we could easily do this on Thursday. But we do want to talk about the recover piece because of how we normally define recover. And then we're going to take you onto a different, a different thought process. So you rested, you reviewed, you took you took the time to really think about, feel it, smell it, hear it, taste it, whatever, of what is going on in your life and how it's going. And now it's recover time. So let's say you didn't hit the mark. Let's say I had set this into motion, and I said I wanted to do this, and I didn't quite do it. Okay. So we tend to really focus on that piece. We tend to say, oh, I didn't hit it. I didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. And we need to recover from that. We need to say, and that's where that what comes in. It's not how did this happen, like Gladiator Guru was saying. It's what do I need to do to alter this? Okay. Because maybe the reason you didn't hit the mark was because maybe it's not that important to you anymore. Maybe something shifted.
Thank you.
So that's a consideration, and that's where the review comes in. So to recover from it, you would say, well, you know what? I'm actually not upset that I didn't hit it because that's not the direction I ended up wanting to go in, and I went into a different direction. Fine. But maybe it was something you wanted to do and you didn't. So the what is, what am I going to do differently? What do I need to do to recover from this quote loss, this quote failure? And let's use those words loosely because we don't want to sit there and say that it's a failure. It's just what it is. It just wasn't done. It didn't come out the way you wanted it. It wasn't in the direction you wanted to go. But now you want to recover from this. Let that go. Figure out what it was that you didn't do, or what you did do that didn't work, and recover from it. And then this way, that's where the reset piece comes into play. So that makes sense for most people. When most people hear the word recover, they think, oh, it's, the things that I didn't quite get to, the things that I didn't quite hit. I have to recover from the idea that I failed, or I missed out, or I didn't do what I was supposed to. But now, go ahead, Gladiator Guru.
We're on recover. Everything you said flowed very nice, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Because not what it is. There's two questions, right? Is that what you're asking from me?
Well, we got excited because you posed a different take on recover, and we got very excited about the idea of talking about that.
Because it's a change mindset, but it's a change of belief systems, right? So the two questions I had was, how does one recover, right? How do you recover? And Kathy said release. And one of the things I want to ask, and if you could write it down quick, it would be beautiful. What are we recovering from? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Kathy, Lydia, Desiree.
What are we recovering from? What are you recovering from? What would be one thing, if you are willing to step up and share, what would you be recovering from? What am I recovering from? Let's see. I'm recovering from the fact that I'm recovering actually still from late 2021, honestly. I'm recovering from the fact that I sort of let the business go. I gained weight back. I just fell into a little bit of this pity party. And so, it's like anything, you can't change overnight. So whatever weight I gained, I'm not going to wake up in January 1st and it's going to be gone. And so between that January and now, it took me I went back to my diet plan, my normal eating protocol back in a month ago. So I feel great. And now the weight loss piece, because I haven't changed the amount that I'm eating, and my exercise regimen has changed over the last 2 weeks. Right. So that is, I'm already seeing results. So little by little, I had to review again, right? So I did that. I did the rest. I did the review. How'd I do for January, February, March? I'm doing really interesting work with my business, but I'm still, and we talked about, but yet I'm still not quite where I thought I would be by what I set for myself. So now it's the time to review and then recover from what did I learn, right? Resetting myself and all that.
Yes. And thank you, because I'm listening, and it's like we had a great conversation with that as well. And we're going to have to just do a show on that whole thing. Yes.
Yeah. I think that should be just what it's called. Yeah. So Kathy puts our own expectations. Emotional neglect came from Attica. Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
We're, especially women, we're so notorious for that. Bridget Williams, procrastinating. And thank you for everybody that's putting stuff up there. It's
Yes.
fabulous.
Now, that's what we work on recovering from, right? When we rested, when we reviewed what we've already done, and we're analyzing and we're reflecting and reviewed notes on what we did, what we learned from, and the losses and the gains, right? So that's what everybody, the perception is always, when you see an empty lot, you'll ask somebody, what do you see? An empty lot. And then you ask someone else, what do you see? Possibilities. Like and I was the one who said an empty lot, by the way. So I'm only speaking from experience. But how does one recover from a win? Badass Buddha, enlighten us.
And this is what so Gladiator Guru came up with that yesterday when we were talking. And she's like, what about recovering from a win? And I said, elaborate. And she did. And I thought to myself, that's brilliant, because do we need to also focus and recover from a win? So first off, before we answer that, what do y'all think? Like, do you think, right? It makes sense to say recover from something that we didn't do, we didn't fulfill, we think we failed at, but do we need to recover from the win? And look at Bridget. Bridget's saying yes. It's a 50-50 tribe. So you could just throw an word out and you got a 50% chance to get it right. So thank you for being brave, Bridget Williams. There's Etika. Yes. Okay. All right. So what is the answer, Gladiator Guru? Do we need to recover from a win?
Absolutely. Because it takes you back to the review. And when we win, what do? Yes. And then we immediately go into either planning something else, or we never sit and celebrate ourselves, do we? We don't celebrate that win for what it was. That win. It's not the win in life. It was that win. That level on the totem pole. So however large and however tall is your totem pole. But when we don't stop to rest, right? To rest and review our wins, why do we think we should lose time in doing that with only the losses? When we recover from our win, we're like, and we don't celebrate that. We don't take the time out to learn from it, because we did it this way. It motivates us to the next challenge, but it does something else. Let us share with us.
So the other piece of it is this, that let's say you set your goals, you did this, you're going to do this, I want to accomplish this, and you did it. Okay. And now you rested for a moment, you're reviewing it, and you're like, this is great. I did it. I reached it. I achieved it. The recover piece is also this, that when we reach our goals, we almost can get complacent sometimes. We can say, well, I reached it. So for my next set of goals, I don't have to try as hard, or maybe I don't even set as many goals, or even set no goals, because I achieved what I said I was going to do
For this year,
right? It's only the beginning of the year, right? Mm-hmm. And so we get a little complacent, we step back a little bit, or we do say, this is what I'm going to put on the docket now. But I don't, I got this, like, this is rolling. So let's say it's your business. And let's say you said, I'm going to have X amount of clients signed up. And now you're like, oh, this is great. I hit my mark. And, recalibrate. Oh, I like that, Kathy. You're going to have to add it. See, it wouldn't fit in the title, because you can only fit so many words before it just doesn't, you can't even advertise it anymore. But then all of a sudden you say, for the next set of goals, well, I'd like to have double that amount of people, but then you stay back a little bit because you're riding on that success. You celebrate the success. Mm-hmm. We don't want to ride on the success, because then we get, like I said, complacent
and lazy.
And that was the word that you used, which was brilliant. We get lazy.
We get lazy.
Because we don't think, because here's the piece in the review. What took us to get to achieve that? What was it that we did that got us to achieve that? And so if we achieved it, if we want that momentum to keep going, we have to still put that effort in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you said to yourself, well, I'm okay with, like, I got 15 clients, but I'm okay with, for the next quarter, only having 3 because I need to pull myself back a little bit. That's a different goal. That's different. You're honoring yourself that you want to focus on these 15, nurture these 15, step back a little and work on yourself, work on the business. That's different. But if you're saying, no, I want this to keep going and building, but you decide to take a step back because, well, I got these 15, I don't have to work as hard. They're just going to keep coming. That's why that recovery piece is really important, even for the celebrations. And when you said that yesterday during the conversation, Gladiator Guru, I was like, holy shit, that's really an interesting way to look at it. Because it's true. It's true. We're celebrating. We hit this landmark and then we get lazy. Like, I don't have to do as much next time because I got it. It's going already.
And
I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
It is, because like in every step, you have to acknowledge, accept, you have to feel, you have to release, and then you have to celebrate whether you did good or whether you did bad. Because when you did bad and you failed and you lost money or your merchandise is sitting there, you must still celebrate because you learned right now on your first try, what you considered a failure was the best business class you could have taken. Because not only did you learn to do something, you acknowledge that it happened, you felt the loss, right? But you learned what not to do in any business venture going forward.
Yes.
So it's a win-win if you're paying attention to your life. So stop always saying, why me? Why didn't nobody help me? Why didn't I have enough money? Cut the whys and let's focus on the what's and the hows. And that's how you recover. A loss is not really a loss, people. A loss, if you dissect that bitch, it's going to speak in tongues to you. It's going to speak a language that only you are going to understand. So when you move forward, it was like you have your own personal genie in a bottle. Those so-called failures are really there to guide you. So pay
if we're open, if we're willing to let them guide us.
If
right.
you let go of the whys. Why? But I don't understand. But why? But why? But why? But why? You know how many times I tell people, please don't call me until you're not fucking asking that again. I don't care if you're asking yourself. You're saying it out loud and it's hurting my ears. And you can reach out. Anybody here who knows I said that to. Because but why? But why? But why? Bitch, move on.
And so that's a good example of a very supportive tribe member. So somebody might say, well, why is that supportive? She's telling me to call her back when I'm like not there anymore, because she's trying to wake you the fuck up to say, I'm not hearing this anymore. She's there for a couple of them. And then if you keep repeating it, but why, even after there's been conversation, even after there's been advice given, recommendations, brainstorming, and you still keep coming about, but why, that is a good tribe member to finally say to you, you know what? Don't call me. Unless you are absolutely ready to change, because you are obviously not. And so enabling people is not being a good tribe member, like doing the enabling piece.
Not even a good thing.
And I love it. She called me out yesterday when we were talking, and it was the but. No, it was a conversation that we had the other day. And she called me out on something. And then yesterday when we were talking, I acknowledged her I brought it back up again. And I said, I acknowledge you for calling me out on that. And then as I'm speaking again, she calls me out again. And she's like, instead, why do you say but? Why don't you just say yet? And I'm going, she's so right. But that's the only way. So sometimes that review piece has to come in with another person, Because sometimes too, here's something we didn't talk about in Gladiator Guru is that even when we're reviewing, we sometimes don't want to review the pieces that are real hard for us because we're stuck on certain pieces. And sometimes that other person comes in and helps guide you into a better review. Well, did you think about this? Did you think about this? Because I could sit there and say to Gladiator Guru and I know each other so well. Like, we know what we're working on. We know what we're working towards. We talk about it to each other all the time. And if I said to her, this, and this, I'm not seeing this, or I'm not seeing that, she could come around and say to me, well, what about this piece? What about that piece? Because if I'm conveniently leaving it out, she's going to want to know why I'm conveniently leaving out. And it's the same thing with her. I know this is the stuff that she's working on. So when she's telling me one thing, I can ask her about something else. And sometimes we need that because our reviews could be a little skewed. And as a result, inaccurate information also will prevent us from recovering properly and then resetting properly. Woo! Where's that come from?
Yes, and it will. And you know what? Nunca te engañe. Don't lie to yourself. If you fucked up, you fucked up. Pick up the pieces where they're at. Look at them. Are they salvageable? Okay. If they're not, throw them in the garbage. Scratch it off. Start off fresh.
Yes.
Because you know what? I am in love with the Badass Buddha, and I read a phenomenal bio, and we said we're going to change our bios to actually match our personalities, our spirits. And I call myself the traveling magician because I can write anywhere. I can paint anywhere. I can stand up in the middle of any room and talk shit or spit knowledge, whatever, however you're listening to my words, and I am a superstar everywhere I go. So when we are doing everything we're doing, figure out what you're doing. No one can figure it out for you. Okay? I suffer from foot in the mouth syndrome. It's okay. I'm not sensitive. Now, if you're coming at me, telling me I need to change something that I absolutely adore about myself, please check yourself twice before you approach me. Yeah. Because when you know who you are, the door's always open to listen because you can gain, right? And maybe not only are you gaining from what other people are suggesting, but you can replace something you're not using that you just are holding on to. So be open because the world is a more positive place within you than you give it credit for. And without having that type of thought pattern, you're not going to rest. You are not going to be able to review. And you're not going to recover from anything because you're not there. Be the seesaw in the playground that you used to love and balance it out. Some days you're going to be down here. And some days you're going to be riding it up here. But always know on either one of those days that you will always have to meet back in the middle. And that's where the magic happens. So meet yourself there. Allow yourself the permission to meet yourself there because you're going to have these days and you're going to have these days. But damn it, you're going to have more of these days that you are going to go unnoticed, unappreciated because you're too busy focusing down here or up here. This is the rest area. Rest well, my people.
Yeah, and that's the review too. It's like they're almost they're symbiotic for sure. All of these are, but they're almost synonymous because you really can't properly review unless you are resting. And then the last piece, when again we can continue this conversation on Thursday with the guest, but is the reset piece. What was the example that I gave when we were spewing out stuff yesterday? What was the reset example that I gave?
Packing in.
No, it was like a machine. Like, wasn't there like something that I said that if you you hit the reset button? Did you write it down? Because I couldn't remember what I said now. But it's so reset basically. Sometimes we have to just hit the reset. Like we have to just. Even if we're going into the direction that we're going in, we're everything's beautiful, everything's fabulous, hit that reset button. Say, okay, it's a new day. I'm a new person and I'm in a new flow. I'm going to reset. That doesn't mean you abandon what's been working. You just have to reset to say, I am starting over, and here I go. And
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, what was the example that I used? I can't remember, but so resetting. And also I did love what Kathy put, release. I think it was Kathy that put release. Yes. Reset and release, because we didn't include that one on there, but it's the truth. It's when we reset, when we decide, okay, this is how I'm going to do it now. Why is it important to reset? Because you're not the same person you were 3 months ago.
You're not the same person you was yesterday.
That's correct. That's correct. Well, maybe if you allow yourself to be, like if you've done nothing different, then you are the same person. But especially months ago, if you've accomplished things, you're not the same person you were. So you need to reset, because you have to reset according to the new you. You have to oh, I know what it was. I remember. You have to recalibrate. So we have when we were doing the eating plan, and I'm back to doing this, and I think Gladiator Guru is too. You have a food scale, right? And so the way you weigh your food is you put the food scale down, you put the bowl on there or the plate, and it'll weigh the bowl or the plate, but you want to weigh the food. So you hit the button again, and it recalibrates it to 0. So the bowl is like as if it doesn't even exist. It's not even there. Whatever you put into the bowl, that's what it's weighing. So you have to think of your life as every so often. Again, it could be daily, it could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be quarterly. You have to hit the reset button. You have to recalibrate for who you are right now. So if you are the plate, you have to recalibrate to account for the weight of that plate. If you are the bowl, you have to account for the weight of that bowl. Mm-hmm. You have to recalibrate yourself and set according to who you are now as a result of what you've experienced over that time.
Yes. And it could be anything. Never say, oh, that doesn't matter. That was little. Everything you set out to do is huge. It's you. Thank you, Edie. Edie wrote, don't lie to yourself. Hashtag tiburón was what they called my father, the shark. Lydia, I really love that.
Yes, I feel everything falls into place when you're truthful to yourself, and others will see the importance of taking care of oneself. Yes. Great.
And be the leader. You have to be the leader with discernment. If you have discernment and you're trying to teach something, that's how it'll penetrate through the pores and enter the tapestry of everybody's fiber. Because you know what? When you're doing it out of doing it because you just want to sound good, then you're not helping anything. So that's a very important thing you said, Lydia.
Yeah, because in the end, I and that's the other part of the rest, the review, the recover, reset. The other little piece when we're talking about on a personal level is you have to be still, you have to review, and you have to make sure that you are living the life that you're supposed to live. You're living as you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that means that you have to go through a checklist. Like one of the things that I have hanging up right in front of me, aside from my goals, right, for the year, and I check in to make sure that I'm still on the path, I'm still doing them. But I also have a list that I printed out, and it says life values, and it's a list of values. And I already highlighted what is important to me in my values. And in order for me to make sure that I'm staying steadfast with these values until they become completely ingrained in me, with most of them are, I have to do that review. I have to look at them and go, was I accountable to myself, and to others? Was I whatever is listed up there, and because if I'm defining myself this way, then I have to make sure that that's who I actually am. And then I'm not lying to myself, just like you said. Yeah. It's because I could do that, but lying to myself and lying to other people, it catches up with you. And you have two choices. It either drains you and it makes you become an empty vessel. It chips away at your spirit, or you're a narcissist, because narcissists lie to themselves all the time, and you are not a good-hearted, souled person. Well, I don't want to be that person. So I have to check in with myself. So if I am saying I'm this, but not being that person, then I got to check in, and I've got to ask myself why that is the way it is. what I need to do to make sure, or redirect and say, maybe that isn't that important to me. Maybe, that life value isn't as important to me. And again, it's all about checking in and then resetting.
And but the bottom line is what you said is, I like that list that you have. Be realistic with yourself. Don't undervalue who you are, and don't
Yes.
take away from what you can do, and don't blow yourself up like a narcissist would, like somebody who is living such a lie they're believing it. Be that medium for yourself. I'm only talking about self, because I don't include anybody else when I'm making plans for my life, because that's just too many fingers. What happens is, if I take care of exactly who I'm supposed to be, then it would pour out to everyone that I love around me.
Yes.
So when you're resetting, and she says she has her goals up on her wall, that's beautiful. I try, I can't. So I'm living my life quarterly. So whatever, every goal I set from January to the end of March, I accomplished. Not that it took place in March, but I accomplished how to start the process to then proceed for the second quarter that I have it planned for. Everything but my car accident and the last day of March was pre-planned. And so you see that little hiccup? It didn't knock me over. So now second quarter, what do we have going on? More books to be published. My pilgrimage through Spain.
Yes.
Uh,
That's on this quarter.
and this quarter will end with my grand opening of my business. So guess what? I already say this is what I want to do, and I write down what I have, how to do it. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't do that yesterday. Let me do it today. And that's how I get it done. I'm living quarterly. I'm going to do every 3 months. And if that becomes too much, guess what? I'm going to plan month to month. Because you plan your life how you want it, now how society is telling you to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we are fucking up so much, where we're trying to follow what everybody else. And let me say it again. Listen carefully. Don't follow the masses, because the M is always silent. So stop following all these asses who thinks they have it together. If you need to know something, look it up, study it, learn it, because it's going to benefit you. Feed your
That's part of the review. That's part of the review. It's not saying you can't use that information. It's just you have to use it to in the way that works for you. The only way you would know is to rest, be still, review yourself, this information, then recover, decide what is that's what's going to work for you in the way that it's going to work for you, and then reset yourself to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish based on whatever you came up with. And that's knowing yourself. That's the piece. And that's what we're actually going to talk about on Thursday. The piece on Thursday, we're going to continue the conversation on rest, review, recover, reset. But we're all with our guest, Christy Sullivan. We're going to talk about why that's a challenge sometimes for people and how to overcome those pieces. Right? I believe that's what we decided, that we're going to go in that direction. Yes.
Okay. And you know what? But don't make it more difficult than what it needs to be. Figure out what works for you. I know people who write down everything they're going to do that day. And I've met people who have had tremendous depression because they didn't cross everything off their list. And I'm talking about this. One of my friends, and I was like, if you're going to be acting like that, and this was years ago, 2006, I said, you and your plans, why are you upsetting you? You're your own worst enemy. And she thought that's how life was lived. And she's like, Margarita, she's from England. I don't understand. I said, listen, I didn't ask you to come help me. You working shoulder to shoulder. That shit doesn't work for me. So you stick to your plan and I'll go have a cigarette. you think that through. And she's, of course, a vegan non-smoker. What I'm saying is I'm not for everybody, but I'm always for me, number one. Right? And number two is just figure out who you are. And you didn't need to figure out who you were at 20. That was impossible. At 30, you're just getting the little thing of like, who am I? At 40, you start saying, well, I don't know who I was, but I'm loving who I'm becoming, right? But you still don't have like a solid foundation. And that's okay to live life like that. I'm a gypsy. I flow.
All right.
But hold on, I'm not done.
No, go ahead.
So, and yeah, Lydia, I flow. And that's why I need an accountability partner who does write her goals down, who does plan, who does have a planner, who does have vision boards in front of her. It's called balance. And when you have that balance, you're in the right place. And that's all I have.
And I have the accountability partner who reminds me that things will happen, that the goals will always be reached, that sometimes it's not always on the timeline that we put.
It's always on the right timing. You can't say I believe in the law of attraction and then want to take everything from the universe. If you believe that the universe and God provides, and you got to leave that out there. Said, this is what I want to do, and I'd love to get it done by this time. Let me see. If you don't overload your calendar for that time, I only had like really 3 major things set up for the 3 months in the first year. That's it. I'm not overwhelming myself. I don't work too hard. I'm going to be 54 years old according to our calendar, Gregorian calendar. According to the Mayan calendar, what is it, Erica Balahala? I'm 8 years younger. So I'm going to act accordingly 8 years younger. Boom.
Lydia says we're still babies. Okay, I'll take that. I'm not even arguing.
We are. Okay. Thank you to everybody who stood on at 1:11. We were on an hour and 11 minutes and 56 seconds. Erica,
yes. So thank you for staying on. We appreciate it. Share, because we had some really good information in here, especially towards the end. And so you could share it with people and tell them to fast forward to specific sections if you want, because this was really good. So thank you so much for everybody coming on. We really appreciate it. We will see you on Thursday. And again, we're in the clubhouse, so we're going to do a rebroadcast in about an hour and a half, and we'll maybe not. No, I think about a half hour. I think, a half hour that we're going to rebroadcast. So thank you so much, and we'll see you on Thursday. So from us, the fabulous duo here from the Badass Buddha, specifically, remember: be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
Yes, and 2 things. Moments con Margarita tonight at 7. And don't forget the date. If you are in Connecticut, we will be in Bristol, April 24th.
April 24th.
Badass her badass
story. Yes.
Yeah, it's too much. I'm sorry. April 24th, Bristol, Connecticut. 3 authors will be there this time. If you're in the area, hop on in.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
Even if you have your book, you can have them autographed by all of us. So remember, mi gente, I'm sorry for being late this morning. Breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste.